Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Fall 2025 New Jersey Film Festival Filmmaker Q&A series. We've been running this Q&A series since the pandemic, and we've reached out to wonderful filmmakers all over the world. And today we have a wonderful filmmaker who lives in Belgium, but actually he's in San Diego right now to show his wonderful film, Hearts of Stone. And it's a really an amazing film. So we're going to be talking to the director for the next 25 minutes. And before we do that, I just wanted to let you know that the film festival itself will be taking place between September 5th and October 10th, mostly on Fridays and Sundays. There are football games on Saturdays, so we don't really hold screenings on that day because the traffic is terrible. But our festival is still a hybrid, which means that you can watch pretty much all the films online. And there's a select number of in-person screenings that we're going to be doing as well. And Tom's film, Hearts of Stone, is one of them. And Tom, pronounce your last name for me so I don't butcher it.
Van Avermaet.
Van Avermaet, very nice. And Tom's film stars Noomi Rapace, and you may remember her from Prometheus. She was also the girl with the dragon
Right.
tattoo. She's a really famous actor. And I guess that's my first question. How were you able to get her to be part of this really wonderful film? And then I'll tell people what it's about.
Right. So I was fortunate with my previous short film, a film called Death of a Shadow, to be nominated for Academy Award.
Wow.
And that kind of opened the doors a little bit easier for me to reach out to people like Noomi. She'd also worked with the main actor of my previous short film. So
Mm.
there was some kind of connection already. And we had a casting director, Annie Rowe, an English casting director, who helped us to get to the agencies and then kind of make that process a little smoother. But what I found, just reaching out to well-known names to even do a short film,
Mm.
like actors want to act, they want to perform, they want to do interesting projects. It's usually the people around the actors that are more hesitant to have them do short films.
Mm.
But like once you bypass
Mm.
that first wall and get to the actual person, I believe that very often they will be very responsive to a project if they like it, of course.
Yeah.
Because for them, they just want to do different things, and sometimes in features they might get a little bit stuck in a typecasting situation. And if it's then a challenging role or does something different, like we try to do at least with our film, then I think it can appeal to people as well who have a certain status.
Mm.
So in that sense, I would always like say to reach out to the people you want to cast.
Mm.
You never know. I mean,
You never know. That's very
yeah,
true. And I think I guess what I like most about your film is that it's very heartfelt, no pun intended.
yeah,
It's a very sweet film about a living statue, who spends her weekends, I guess, standing still for moronic tourists to take selfies with, and
yeah.
she puts up with it, but she's smitten by a real statue without telling too much more, but it's a kind of a love story.
Mhm.
And there's so many influences. I teach Jean Cocteau's Blood of a Poet. I'm a huge Peter Greenaway fan, and I know that there's statues in his film Draftman's Contract, living statues too. And so I really like the way that you present the film. The soundtrack is just amazing. So there's so many wonderful aspects. I'm sure this film should be nominated for an Academy Award as well.
We were on the long list this year, but we didn't make
Yeah,
it
I,
to the final stages. But
yeah.
like,
I mean, it really should have been, but I think
thank you.
it doesn't matter. I think you're getting your film shown, and
Yes, thank
hopefully
you for showing it.
It's appreciated by the audience. But I had some questions for you.
Sure.
Are there influences to other statue films, like even
I mean,
something
no,
like Buñuel's L'Âge d'Or? I mean, I thought of that.
I mean, I've seen it, but like it maybe unconsciously. Like my influences or my biggest influence is this guy, maybe
Yeah,
Stanley
Mr.
Kubrick.
Kubrick, cool.
In that sense, like a film like Barry Lyndon, that's always been my favorite Stanley Kubrick film, and I
Mm,
love that approach of trying to make every frame a painting.
mm,
And so we try to do that as well in our film. But direct influences from statues I didn't really have. I thought there weren't that many, but now I know a couple more that I can
Yeah.
check out. But I've always been fascinated by these people who act as living statues. It's like a bit more of a common thing in the region where I'm from, in Belgium and the Netherlands, where you actually
Right.
have like statues, living statue festivals, where these people perform. And I was always like fascinated by why someone would do that and what that person's thought process would be, what their life would be. And
Mm.
it kind of inspired me to make the film.
Well, tell us about the process. How long did it take? How did you decide you were going to make this film? I mean, you wrote the screenplay, and so you're very hands-on as far as directing because it's your baby. Tell us a little bit about the process.
So this has been quite a long process with this film. The cusp of it, a very different version of it, started off as being part of a feature film with
Mm,
all different short films by different directors.
mm,
That didn't end up working out, but I didn't want the project to die.
mm, mm.
So I wrote this with a friend of mine, Alison and Kathleen Kelly, who actually met at the film festival. So it's always a good way to sometimes meet future collaborators as well. So we wanted to tell this story, and I approached someone who worked in my previous film as a production manager, who then became a full-fledged producer,
Mm.
Kathleen Gosses, and just asked her, "Do you want to be part of this and try to make this as a short?" And she immediately jumped on board, and we tried to kind of raise the funding for it, and then got further along. The film itself was shot in 4.5 days,
Wow.
which was not a lot.
Yeah.
With a lot of elements, it became quite intense.
Mm.
I would love not to have to do that again in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
But sometimes we only had the cast for that amount of time, which is the price you pay to work sometimes with people who are very busy.
Yeah.
We kind of had to work around their schedule. So that was just the stipulation that we had.
Mm,
And thanks to like a wonderful crew, were able to pull it off.
mm,
But it was a bit of a process. But then the post-production was really intense.
mm.
Without spoiling too much about the movie, there are a lot of VFX shots in the movie, like a lot of them, and more than some features. And they're subtle VFX shots, so it's
Yeah.
not meant to be in your face, but
Mm,
sometimes those are the most complicated.
mm,
And we spent a lot of time also because we're a short film, we don't have a lot of money,
mm.
and we had to kind of work with people who were available when they were available. Sometimes they drop out, so it became like a really long process. It took 4.5 years
Wow.
uh, to get the film completed, um,
Crazy.
which wasn't what I calculated in the beginning. But
Mm.
film is always like the moment you start, you don't know where you're gonna kind of end. But like you hope you're gonna end, and finally we did. But like it was a bit longer in that sense than I thought. But this film has been with me for almost a decade now, and that's in different forms. So it's a very precious project to me as well because of that. Like, and just because like yeah, I've been part of it for so long in every part of it. Um,
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, I think there's a lot of love that's in the film, and it's about love too. So I think, the piecing together of these elements, and I could see the subtle special effects. I think, when the statue is starting to move, and all those little things must have taken hours and hours to
yeah.
have to
So
fruition.
it's like really detailed because people have to work frame by frame almost, and also trying to figure out what works. Without spoiling too much. So the real statue in the film, comes to life at some point,
Right.
and one of the things we had to kind of work on, which is what sculptors do as well,
Mhm.
is like how do you make a statue that comes to life still feel emotional? And we had to actually discover that we had to use a trick that sculptors use,
Mhm.
which is what they do is they put a little bar inside the eye of a
Mhm.
statue. This to mimic the reflection of light that usually happens on our eye, on the watery surface of our eye.
Mhm.
And once you add that, it immediately brings back the emotion that the actor also put in.
Mm.
But if you don't do it, it's a lot harder. So that's like a whole process of discovery that we kind of had to do. We were basically sculpting her in a way.
Well, Jessica plays she's really wonderful too. And I think, um, having her and the way that she looks otherworldly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Mhm.
think the eyes are the thing that you see, the first thing that you notice that it's there, but it is a coldness in the eyes.
Right.
She's moving, she's alive, but she's not alive. So
It's like
I
in
think that
between, like
you
it's
did a
like
great job. So tell us about, oh gosh, I wrote his name down. Mathis Jukic's score.
Marko Jukic. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Marcus, excuse me, I can't read my own writing. Tell me
Yeah.
about him. That score is just amazing. You got to put that out on CD too, I think.
So it was an interesting process. So for Marco, this is the first time he did a film score.
Mm,
So at the time that we started working together, he was a student of classical composition in Munich, in Germany. So like at one of the top schools for classical composition.
mm,
And I knew like for the film, we needed someone with that background because I wanted to go for this classical romantic score
yeah,
because we wanted to kind of, in a way, refer to a past that's never been, which I feel like Living Statues kind of also long for in a way.
yeah.
Um, and we wanted to have that in the score. And we worked on the score, and we kind of quickly discovered like, to really do what we want to do, we need an orchestra,
Mm,
which for a short film is not a given,
yeah.
and a complicated thing. So I basically said to him, look, I like a challenge. What we'll do is, if you are willing, you defer your fee into the film. I double that money from my money, and then we both become music producers on the film,
Mm,
and we're going to try to work with an actual orchestra.
mm,
He immediately jumped on board, and we were able to find an orchestra in Bulgaria. We were able to afford,
mm.
and so the full, like every instrument in the film is real, which I think is something like I'm definitely proud of. This first time I had a film that every instrument is real, and not like doubled, which sometimes happens. And like for the previous film I did, we had to double sometimes the strings, but like now it's just like it's just the orchestra that's there. And we also, I've always been in love with a sort of glassy kind of sound.
Mm.
And we use an instrument called a verrophone, which is the instrumental version of something called the glass harp, which is basically those glasses that people fill with water, and then they turn the rim of the glass
Yeah, yeah,
to create this kind of hypnotic sound.
yeah.
But there is an instrumental version of that called the verrophone, and we found someone who had that instrument and in Germany, and he recorded it in his apartment, and then we mixed that back into the film.
Very
So
cool.
it was kind of
Yeah,
like
I was wondering what that was. That's
yeah,
very interesting.
but also an instrument. So like everything is an instrument. So no samples used in the film. So everything is
Yeah,
real in
it's
that
very
sense.
organic, and I think it matches the surroundings. I mean, the kind of autumn look, I think, also sets the tone.
Right.
I
Mhm.
always tell my
I love
students,
that. Yeah.
when you're looking at a film, what time of the season is it? And that
Mhm.
tells you a lot about what you're going to be seeing.
Right.
And I think that the hues of your film kind of match
Yeah.
the time period, which is really cool. So tell me, where did you shoot your movie? There's a number of locations.
So we all shot in the city of Antwerp, which is the city where I'm from, basically, which is also a fun thing for me because like I never shot actually in the city where I'm from, and I always found like there's all these beautiful spots in the city that are not always well known. Like for instance, the most like of the second part of the movie takes place in this old trade exchange, which was a location that was under renovation for like 10 years. And
Wow.
we were like the first ones to actually be able to shoot something right after it was renovated. It was actually still
Mm,
being renovated for some parts, but we were able to film there, which was wonderful because it was always like a dream location of mine.
mm,
Work with. Then it was just locked off for so long you couldn't even access it, and then We were lucky in the sense that we could then be the first one to come there. In the statue park, I've always loved that park. Only thing I'm now a bit, that's the weird thing that life imitates art or whatever you want to call it. Like, so when we started the process, um, we had the full cooperation of the park. They were really excited as well. But they told me kind of like, because in the film, um, not think I'm spoiling too much, but like the statue gets replaced by a more modern piece, and they said like, yeah, but that's nice in the screenplay, but that will never happen in real life. And recently, I went back,
And they moved.
and to my surprise, almost all the statues were replaced
Oh my God.
by modern things.
Oh my God. That's
So I don't. I still hope it's kind of temporary.
mm,
They were still mostly there in like uh, location where we also filmed. We just
like
changed
a
a bit, like
warehouse. Yeah,
we had
like a
the
warehouse.
depot, but like the like the open air depot.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
but then it actually
It
the thing
took
was
place. Yeah.
took place, which was kind of weird and a little bit sad. But like I hope it's only temporary because yeah, they do try to move things around, but like
Yeah.
it was weird to kind of come there and then see that actually these things happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's in your script where the fellow who's taking the statues says, people want new things, and maybe you were prescient in that way. So,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, maybe, but like, I hope like maybe my film can counterbalance a little bit.
and maybe they'll realize that they need to bring back the other statues. Yeah.
Maybe they will. But
Antwerp is a port city, then. It is a
yeah,
port
yeah.
city
So it's like
in Belgium.
one of its more well-known elements.
Yeah.
I think it's also fun. I mean, these days it's mostly when it's shown in film and television, it's mostly seen as a bit of a crime hub
Crime
because like
Bay.
it's
Yeah.
become like a focal point for the cocaine trade
Yeah.
in Europe.
Yeah.
And I think because we also had investment from the city. And I think they also appreciated that we showed a different part of Antwerp,
In a nicer way. Yeah.
yeah, a nicer way. And
That's
then,
that's that's a key moment of the film too, I think.
yeah, yeah.
That's Well, that it's really a wonderful film, and I know our judges absolutely loved it. I think somebody's writing a review. I can't
All right.
remember. One of the judges. Our judges are made up of students who are film
Nice.
students at the university, as well as other academics like myself, previous winners,
Yeah.
as well as members of the media and journalists. So I know one of them is writing on your film. She loved it. So
Great.
um,
Lovely.
you know, we're very proud to show the film. Now we have to tell the audience how they can see the film.
Yes.
So I'm going to share screen, and here we go. This is our website. Normally everything would be here at njfilmfest.com. But since the pandemic, we have been a hybrid festival, which means that we show the films online as well as in person. We show all the films online. There are select in-person screenings. I say maybe 85% of the films are shown both ways. And then what you would do is you would get this placeholder and you would click on the tickets and info section. This just gives you basic generic information. And then once you click that, our website opens up because we use a streaming service now. Since the pandemic, we showed almost exclusively online for a year.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, we integrated the in-person part again. But
Okay.
we
Nice.
developed this audience from people that like from Belgium
Yeah.
that have watched our films, and we didn't want to exclude them from watching
Yeah.
future. And that seems to be a trend. We were one of the first to do that. And
Yeah.
even Sundance now does that too. So I think
Yeah.
it's an important thing. And anyway, so once you get to our site, there's all these red buttons, and you want to click on all four of them, all of them really. But the first one is the easiest one and the most generic, which is just old analog list of the screenings. Each screening is separated by a red line, which tells you when it's playing. And your film is playing as part of the Shorts program on
Nice.
Sunday, September 7th.
Great.
And it's online for 24 hours and in person at 5 p.m. And yours
Great.
is the last film we're showing.
Great.
And you can get more information by scrolling down. You can also click tickets, and that's where you want to go if you want to buy a ticket, right? And if you've never come to our festival, you need to register And it takes 30 seconds to do that. And then once you've done that, then you can buy tickets. So I'm hovering over the short film program,
There
and
it
all you
is.
have to do is hover over one of the images, and a pre-order button will click, and you just click on that, and you can buy tickets for this show. All of our programs are $15 general admission. It allows you to watch it online and in person. And yes, Tom, we have people that come, they watch the film at home during the day, and then they come that evening
Oh,
to watch
nice.
it on the big screen. And a lot of the times, a lot of filmmakers are there too.
Yeah.
So they ask questions. So this is a nice image of Jessica who plays the statue. And you can check out the rest of the lineup. You can always go back to the festival site and click around. You can get an all access pass that provides you with, for $120, you can see everything. It's about half price. We're also doing an audiovisual concert by Cold Weather Company, which is a band from New Jersey. And then there are three workshops, filmmaking workshops that are free and open to the public.
Oh,
So
super.
you want to take advantage of those too. So I'm going to stop sharing. And our festival has been going through a lot of different changes. And I think with the hybrid setup, our audience is about
Yeah.
half in person, half online. But at first, it was only 20% were coming in person. So it's starting to creep back,
Coming back. Yeah.
but it's very, very slow process. So anyway, it was lovely having you on this program.
Thanks so much for having
And
me.
just stick around after we say goodbye to the audience, and I'll give you some more info.
Okay.
But folks, you absolutely want to see Tom's film, Hearts of Stone, on Sunday, September 7th at 5 o'clock if you're coming in person. But the film is available all day on that day, and hope you will join us. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.